how to deploy and manage Windows patches with the SCCM. This is part 9 of the SCCM the Home Lab series that I started a little while ago. I strongly suggest that you start with the part 1 so that everything kind of makes sense to you. If you want to start with that list, I have created a playlist. You can find the link in the description of this video. In this video, I'm going to create some OS-based collections. I'll show you. Actually, I have a script that will do this job, and I will share the link for that script for you guys too. And then I'm going to categorize the patches into 2 categories. It's going to be baseline and in future. And then baseline, obviously, I'm going to deploy them as baseline, but I would set up the future using ADR, which is automatic deployment rules. That will save you lots of time testing, and because the system is going to deploy those patches automatically for you. And patches are really headache for all of the admins. I'm sure you know, but if you don't, then you are still new and learning. That is one of a pain point for all the admins. So basically, the way I'm going to do is I'm going to group those patches, and then I'll show you how to download them. Then I'm going to distribute them and deploy them. If you are new to my channel, I am Bibi, a software engineer who loves to share the knowledge. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and click the bell icon so that you could get notification for all of my future videos. Before I move to SCCM machine, I just wanted to kind of quickly cover about the baseline and why it's really needed. Basically, a baseline is a group of updates for a product that has been released since day 1 of its life cycle to the current day. For instance, Windows 7, I believe, was released in July of 2009. The baseline that I would create would hold every relevant non-superseded update between then till today. So hopefully it makes sense now that why we need the baseline. And also want to add that Microsoft did started to release cumulative updates so that admins don't have to go and patch from day 1, because all of the updates now are going to be kind of bundled into all of the new future updates that are coming. That's why they are called cumulative. So just wanted to throw it out there so that you have a little bit idea why a baseline is still needed. So let's move to the SCCM machine and get started. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and log into SCCM, which is SCCM01 that I have created in earlier during the series. So you could just, if you're new, please watch that video. I'm gonna use my awesome password. SCCM console. And click assets and compliance. I just want to show you that there are no collections at this time. It's whatever the standard collections that were created by the installation of SCCM. And yes, I'm sorry, I take it back. I did create one in one of the previous videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create basically a new folder that will be about the updates, and then underneath all of the other collection folders are going to be organized based on the operating system. So instead of doing that manually, actually there is a script available out there. It's a PowerShell script. You could go and download that script and run it as an account that is the SCCM admin account. If you have followed my videos, then if you are logged in as what the user that I'm logged in as, you should be just fine. So the link to that script, I will include it into the description. And if you want to take a look at it, is right here. And this URL, I'm going to include it for you guys into the description. Just simply go ahead and just download this Windows Update Collections. It's a PowerShell script. I have already downloaded it, and I staked it into my storage packages and tips folder. It's right here. So I'll launch PowerShell as an admin. It's a good practice to do that whenever I make sure that I am running as an admin. Browse to that folder and just execute that PowerShell script. It takes, I would say, give or take, probably about between 3 to 5 minutes for it to create all of the folders that are needed. So once I executed it, I pressed enter once and then go back and do it one more time. So if you refresh it, it's still not there yet. The script is still running. I'm gonna refresh it one more time. It's still running. But you could see it has created one here. That's kind of a main one, but shortly we would see that the folder would get created here too. Alright, so the script has successfully completed. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and close the PowerShell window. And now you could see the folders that the folder for Windows Update was created, and under that there is a subfolder for servers, and all the collections for server are here. We are not interested in these. I'm not going to do anything with them. Majority of my videos are going to be more focused on the workstations. So you could see that's workstations under workstation Windows 10. And it has created two types of collections. One is for development, and then the other one is production. The reason they are created this way, and the one I want to use them that way too, is because there are certain, I'm gonna create the auto deployment rules. That's how I'm gonna start targeting those development too, so that the patches that once they get released, you could release them about a week ahead, and they could be tested thoroughly before the production execution takes place. So in the previous videos, if you just look at it, I had, I think, added about 3 machines, I'm sorry, for Windows 10. This one is not active anymore. It's just the one that I've been working on, R2. And then there is another one for Windows 7 that I created the other day. So you could see that one too. So, and all of the new devices that are going to join and get added to SCCM, they are automatically going to start getting populated into these collections. I would create a very detailed video that is going to be more focused on the collection, how to create them, and how the whole process works, and where the queries are. But if you just are interested just to find out what exact query for, let's say, for this collection, production Windows updates Windows 7, you can just right click it, go to properties, and then go on membership rules, and that's where the queries are. And then this one has multiple queries in that. So you could just simply select one and do edit, and on this query rules property, just look at the query actually is right here. You could copy paste into a notepad or notepad plus, and you could just look at there, or you could click edit query statement. And then once this production windows, that's the title of the window. Once this window pops up, just simply click on show query language, and that's the exact query that is running for this collection. It's just a very high level. I'm just trying to give you, but for detail, I will create a very special video about this, because this will take about good 30 to 40 minute long video to get you to understand everything. Cancel out. So now I have the collections ready. So this would be my target, who I would deploy the updates to. So now I'm gonna move and actually look at create the groups for the batches that I'm gonna deploy, but I'm gonna group them as an operating system too. So to do that, just simply go into all software, and the first one, the groups that I'm going to create, they are going to be more focused on the baseline, and then the next one after the baseline, I'm going to go back and I'm going to try to create the one for the future, and that is going to have those auto deployment rules on it too. So click on I'm going to go back, click software library, then click on all software updates, and you're going to see if you want to know how these updates got here, watch the previous video about this configuring the WSS. I walked through all of the steps in that video. So here, the first one, I'm gonna click on the add criteria, and this is gonna be and look for product. Then check superseded, update, and then check update classification, add. Now this is basically it's a filter that is going to help you just to filter through the updates that we are going to need for the baseline. I'm going to need some more here, so I'm going to click add again, and then I'm going to select another update classification, add. I'm going to do it one more time, and I'll make the changes to it. You'll understand in a second what I'm doing here. Maybe one more. So the first one, I'm going to go into the product. This is going to be Windows 10. So just simply go and select Windows 10 on a very top level. And the next one is, and if they are superseded. No, we don't want that. We want them if they are not superseded. For the updates, we want critical updates. Then just go and start selecting definition updates, security updates, update roll up, and just updates. I'm gonna cancel this one here. Okay, and if you go through this, you're gonna see like a feature packs, tools. They are not really needed for the baseline, so you don't want to include them into it. Once it's done, you could click search. Now this should bring you anything that was released for Windows 10 since the Windows 10 was released to production the very first time, and this pretty much has everything in it, as you can see. What I'm going to do is next I'm going to save this criteria so that I don't have to keep going and keep creating manually the way I did it. So all you do is just right here, save searches. Yeah, I think instead of save searches, I'm gonna use it save as, so that I can retrieve those searches for the future too. So just simply click on save current search as and give it some kind of a name, the one that you could remember. So I'm gonna call it baseline search. That would make sense. So now, if I want to go back and ever want to retrieve that, just click on saved searches and then select manage searches for the current node, and you are going to see it here, right? A baseline search. Just simply double click it, and here you go. It's gonna pull all of those searches back. And let's say that now you want to do another search for Windows 10 baseline, Windows 7 baseline. All you gotta do is just simply go and change the product, because the rest of the stuff is already there. You don't need to make any changes for it. So once you have the required result and the filter applied, the next thing we need to do is I'm gonna bundle all of these patches into a group for Windows 10 baseline. So the easiest and best way to do it, just simply select all by holding down Control A, right click it, and select create software update group. Then name it, I'm gonna name it baseline Windows 10 update, and it's a good idea to put the date in front of it. This would, for the future, this will let you know when you actually did create it. So I'll call it, today is August the 8th. So I'm gonna do 8-August 2019. And then you could just basically copy paste and leave something in the description too. So create. Now, if you go to software update groups, you should see that the newly created group right over here. So this one has about 123 updates, and you could actually look at each one: description, date created, last date modified. This would also start telling you that how many machines are compliant, and so on. But there is one thing that I need to do for the baseline. Just go into it by double clicking. You are going to see there are sometime you might wind up seeing preview that, just like the way the title is, it says a 2017-6 preview. You don't want to include the preview because that is still officially not released to production by Microsoft. And then also in the baseline, you don't want cumulative update. So I will just go and clean it up. The way to clean it up is just simply select that whichever update that you want or you don't want to include into the group, and right click it, go to edit, select edit membership, and it will show you this batch, how many groups this batch is member of. So let's say that you have here like maybe 4 or 5 or maybe 10, 15 groups. Sorry, right here, groups. You are going to see each group over here and check mark it. So I want this one to be out of this group. So simply uncheck it and click OK. So now once I refresh it, the total number I believe was 123, and you're going to see it's going to remove it, and it's going to, that one is gone. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and and the other way to do multiple one is either you could do control and select that one. You see that I'm holding control key and then clicking on them, or if they are all if they are in line together, which would be, let me see if there are any more other formulas right here. So select the any top one or the bottom one, and then hold down the shift key and then simply click on the very last one, and you're going to see everything is selected. Once it's there, this way you could kind of take care of multiple ones versus just going and getting rid of each one by one. That's very time consuming. So right click, edit membership, uncheck, click OK, and there you just 122. I'm gonna refresh it. There you have it, the 99. So I'm just gonna, I think there is one more. Actually, there are 3 more. Quickly get rid of them. This one, and there are 2 more here. And let's see, one more here. Oops. Sorry. Edit membership. Okay, this one is already unchecked, so on the refresh it should be gone. And just to make sure that you got everything, you could just actually just go ahead and search for cumulative right here, and cumulative. Okay, so there were some more that showed up. I'm just going to take care of this one. Edit membership. Check. So now it should not give me anything. Yep, right there. So I have a group created now. The next step that I need to do is, I mean, these are SCCM knows about these updates. It has not downloaded them, as you could see right here, into your staging folder. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna download them, and as I have already set up my WSS and all of the content that I'm going to put in, it's gonna go right here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and create a subfolder right here for the baseline update. I'm gonna name it as baseline Windows 10. Anything that kind of makes sense. So you are going to need this one, but the path that the system, when you are downloading it, it needs to be UNC path. So the path would need to be something like like this one, whack whack SCCM 01 $ package, and then I'm sorry, not the packages, it's gonna be WCS right here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and copy it into the clipboard, so that whenever the system is asking me, I can just paste it simply and it will be just fine. So just go back to software update groups right here, select the group, right click and download, or you could just select it and then simply click the download button. Either way, it's going to do the same thing. So it will ask for the name. If you already had it created, then you would have a chance. I mean, you would have this option right here to specify a deployment package that is already there, and you want to add something to it. Since I don't have anything, that's why I'm not seeing anything here. So give it a good name, the one that will make sense. I'm gonna call it, to make it easier, baseline Windows 10. That should work. Where the path needs to be, that's why I copied the path, or you could browse and then go to the folder, whichever one that you want to put it out there. Click OK. I have this path, so I'm gonna click next. This one right here is asking you what would be the distribution point that it also needs to be distributed to. So I have only one, which is come on. Sorry, I have a few more things running on this server right now, so that's why it's kind of acting just a little bit slow than the way it does usually. Yeah. Okay, so that's the distribution point that I have. Click OK. Click next. Leave everything as default. Click next. And then leave that download software updates from the internet. Now, some people do like to download them manually into one of their local server. Some of the companies, if the security does not allow to go out and grab anything from the internet, or there could be any other reasons too. So you could actually download them locally too, and then give that path here. But in my case, I'm not going to. In majority of the environment that I have worked, you are able to download directly from the internet. Next, select the language. I'm just going to go with only one. If you have multiple languages that you support, then obviously you will need to check those. Click next. Go through it. It kind of giving you again the summary of how many patches are going to get downloaded, and what is the language, and whatever selections basically you made during these dialogues. So click next. Now it will go out to the internet, and it's going to start downloading the patches, and then it's also going to start distributing to the distribution point. So it's there are a total about in this case 93. So as you could see, it's moving pretty fast. But I'm just gonna go ahead and just pause it just to save some time. While this one is downloaded, you could also actually go and look at the folder right there that it is starting to populate as it downloads each batch. Alright, the download is completed. Just go through, make sure that you have green check marks on everything. If there is any red mark here, that means the system failed for whatever reason. You need to address that based on the error code that it gave. In this case, you could see everything is all green. And if you are having any kind of trouble and you are unable to download them, or if you have any kind of red marks or even warnings, and need help, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to help you on that. So now if I go into that group and refresh it, you could see that it is downloaded, but it's still not deployed. So next step that I'm going to do is I'm just going to deploy this, and my target in this case is going to be Windows 10. Initially I'm going to do one deployment to Windows 10 development, and then one deployment to Windows 10 production. And if you are trying to do this in the production environment, make sure you have proper approvals, and make sure you are doing it right with the approvals. Just don't want to smack those machines with all the updates, and it's going to cause you problems. So go back to the software library, select the software update group, right click it, and deploy. This is exactly almost the same kind of a deployment that I did in one of the past videos about the package deployment. Very similar to it. The process is kind of very similar to it. Deployment name, give some kind of a very some name that makes complete sense whenever you're looking at the reports. So I am going to call it baseline Windows update, and then obviously you could see right there, and then it's a good idea to leave some kind of a description in it too, especially if there are multiple people working on it, or if you have a tendency that you kind of forget, like the way I do. You could leave some notes over here for you. Software deployment, software update group is going to be automatically selected. Now collection, the one that you are going to target. The first one I'm going to set this one to, as I said, I will set it up to Windows 10 development, and I will down the road I'm going to add one machine to it just to test it, make sure everything is good. Once everything is good on the development, then set up the exact same way, but target the production deployment, production collection, so that you are now targeting much more. You might have even a pilot over here too, pilot, and then sometime there is an addition one, depending on the size of the environment. You might have a UAT. So it depends on how thorough of a testing that you want to do. That's how your collection needs to be staged or created. So select the collection, then click next. Here is asking if it needs to be required or available. This one is going to be available. We'll leave everything default. Click next. Local time, yes, I want always it to be the local time, just in case if you are communicating, you're talking to somebody, hey, what time they are scheduled for, you could just tell them 8 p.m. your time, versus sitting down, and if the users are in a different time zones, you don't have to do the calculation for that. Software available time, this is when it's going to make it available. I'm going to do as soon as possible. And then installation deadline, when it should start installing. I'm going to go with ASAP on this one too. Then click next. Display user notifications. This is very common, that there is a little bubble that kind of pops up here. It's good to leave it on, and you could disable it if you want to display in the software center only, or I usually leave it on. Then again, depends on the policy of the company to how they want to deploy the patches. Deadline behavior, when the installation deadline is reached, allow the following activities to be performed. I would restart the system. Device restart behavior, I always try my very best to again with the communication and the processes, how they are defined in the company. Just to safe side, just in case if you wind up pushing it, I would suppress the reboot on the servers. Leave the workstation on, but servers is big no-no. You might wind up getting in trouble. This is for if the environment has any kind of Windows embedded and the changes needs to happen, then this is how you could check and it will commit those changes. Software deployment, yes, this is very software update deployment re-evaluation behavior upon restart. Yes, you want to check it so that whenever the system restarts after applying the patches, it needs to go back and re-evaluate if it needs more updates or if there was anything that was left. So it's a very good thing to just leave it checked. Click next. This is for you, how things show up on the console. So you could generate a certain type of alerts, very self-explanatory. You could just go through it, just like a client compliance is below, if it is below 95%, then give me alert on the dashboard, and the time period, like after that many days, if you have deployed for let's say 7 days, and it has not, if I check it, it has not made up to 95%, then you would get the alert in your dashboard that, hey, on this deployment, it has not met the criteria, the one that you have defined over here. For this lab purpose, I'm just going to leave it unchecked. I'm not going to do anything. And this is the operations manager. Don't worry about this one. Click next. Download setting. Select the deployment option to use when the client uses a distribution point from a neighbor boundaries or group. Deployment options, I check it. Download software. Check download here too. And then if the updates are not available on distribution point neighbor, then you could also give the option to download the updates from Microsoft Updates too. So here you are not making, don't think that you are going and enabling all the updates on those machines and they're going to start downloading. No, all the instructions are going to still, the updates are still going to get controlled by whatever is dictated in this deployment or the way the SCCM client is set up, which I'll show you some settings in one of the next future video. But this would only say, hey, I don't have it in this distribution point, I don't have it in this area that you have set up to, and I cannot grab the bits here to for this patch, so it will just go out and then try to grab those directly from Microsoft. Only those patches, the one that are in this software update group. Allow clients on the meter, I mean, that's up to you. If you have that, make sure to talk to somebody because this could increase the bill really high very quick. So just make sure that they are aware of it. Next, this is basically all the selection, the one that you made, and this is actually a good thing that you could set up a template so that all of these above settings that you have selected, all the choices, you could use it in the future and you don't have to go and recreate over and over or just ask those questions over and over. Should I do or should I not? This is easy way to do it. So just do save as a template and maybe call it as a baseline default. Click save. So now in the future when you're going to do it, which I'll show you shortly when we do the production one, that we could quickly use that one. Click next. All right, green, all green, no issues at all. If you see anything red or warning, orange, that means something went wrong and you need to troubleshoot that one. So click close. So here you have it. This is now, this deployment is set up. You could just, if you want to take a look at it quickly, you could, one thing you could do quickly is just to refresh it. And now you're gonna see that deployed. It's yes. And also you could go under monitoring and deployments. And here you should see that deployment right here. So I'm gonna quickly go and create another one that is going to be the production, and so that you guys can see at least one complete one. And then I'm gonna cut this video short. I'm not going to go with the automatic deployment rules in this video because it's already almost like 40+ minutes. I'm gonna create another video right after this and I'll post it, so you will be able to watch that one too. So I'm gonna go back, click software. I'm gonna do another quick deployment, software update, right click, deploy. I'm gonna name it, sorry, this is gonna be production baseline. Keep everything. And this is where I wanted to show you too. This was another reason too I wanted to show you. This is, if you look at it, that this select deployment template, this is what I just saved a second ago in the previous deployment. Just simply go and select that one, click OK. Now you could just go ahead and do next, almost kind of blindly too. It's gonna have everything already pre-selected. This one, yeah, the time, obviously the template does not have that time because for obvious reason, you don't want to make a mistake. So I'm just, that one, I'm just gonna change it. Next. So you could see those selections, the one that I made previously, they're there. Next. Nothing here. Next. Everything is there. Next. So you could overwrite over here, or if you want to create another template, then this would be a good window where you could just save a template, and then that would be another template. Let's say you made a couple of changes, addition to the one that was previously done. So click next. I'm not going to worry about it. So this should finish shortly, and it should. I also am going to conclude this part of the video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hope that you understood whatever I tried to explain. But if you have more questions, you could always leave a comment, and I'm gonna start leaving my email address too, and you guys can contact me there too if you need to. Thank you so much wherever you are. Have a wonderful evening or day. Peace.